Welcome to the Innovation Brief by IdeaScale, where we give you the insights to become a better innovator. As an innovation leader, you're always trying to push the boundaries, but sometimes it's hard to get your team to come up with groundbreaking ideas.
Yeah, it's a common struggle. And you know what? Today we're going to explore a tool that can really help with that. It's something you might associate with personal development, but it has huge potential for team innovation.
Okay, I'm listening.
Vision boards.
Vision boards. In a business setting,
hmm
I'm not so sure. But okay, I'm interested. Tell me more.
It might sound a little out there, but trust me, there's a strategic depth to vision boards that often gets overlooked. They can be a secret weapon for unlocking that team creativity.
All right, then, how would we use vision boards, say, in the context of design thinking? Those 5 stages: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test.
Okay, so let's connect those dots. For example, let's start with the empathize phase. Instead of just looking at dry data, imagine a vision board that captures user insights through, images and quotes, even physical objects that represent their needs and frustrations.
So you're saying we're not just analyzing data, but actually creating a visual and almost visceral understanding of their world.
Exactly. And this flows right into the define stage. Instead of just a plain problem statement, you've got a vision board with powerful imagery that really brings that challenge to life.
Wow, that's interesting. So we're going beyond just words and creating a visual story that grabs the team's attention. But how do we then go from inspiration to action?
That's where the ideate stage comes in. Vision boards become like these dynamic canvases for brainstorming. Teams can use different things like images and sketches, even physical objects to represent their ideas.
Okay, so we're capturing those aha moments visually.
Yeah.
I like it. But what about when a project hits a roadblock and the team starts to lose that momentum?
That's when vision boards can really shine. Having a vision board up, whether it's physical or digital, it serves as a constant reminder of those shared goals that North Star that can re-energize the team.
It's like a silent cheerleader for innovation.
Yeah,
Always there to remind everyone of the bigger picture.
exactly. And as we move into the prototype phase, the vision board helps bring those ideas to life. It's a space to, visualize those user experiences, create mock-ups, and get that early feedback.
So it's not just about generating ideas, but turning them into something tangible.
Right. And finally, in the test stage, your vision board evolves to reflect user feedback. It becomes a living document showcasing the innovation journey.
I see. It's a powerful framework.
hmm
I'm already seeing how vision boards could shake things up for innovation leaders,
Yeah.
but I want to dive deeper into the practical side. Can you give us some specific examples of how we actually integrate vision boards into each of those design thinking stages?
Absolutely. Let's get into that. Let's say you're working on a new productivity app. Okay, so in that empathize phase, your vision board could have images of, people at work feeling overwhelmed, juggling all these different tasks, maybe even a tangled mess of cords to show tech overload.
Yeah, I can see that. It really brings that user's experience to life for the team. So then how would we use visuals to define the problem in that defined stage?
Okay, well, instead of just saying professionals struggle with time management, you could have a clock with spinning hands showing how time just slips away, maybe even a graph, with those productivity levels going down.
Right. It just makes it so much more real and impactful. So then how do we get those ideas flowing in the ideate stage?
You want to encourage the team to think visually, have them sketch out user interfaces, maybe use icons for app features or even a flow chart to show that user journey. And don't be afraid to bring in some physical objects, anything to get those creative juices going.
I like to make it in a multi-sensory experience. But then how do we go from those sparks of ideas to actual solutions?
In the prototype phase, your vision board becomes that testing ground. You can sketch different screen layouts, map out the user flows, and even build some clickable prototypes.
So we're making the ideas tangible. And what about testing? How does the vision board fit into that?
That's why you bring in the user feedback. You can track your results on the board, highlight areas for improvement, show how the app is changing based on what you're learning.
So the board becomes a living document of the whole process.
That's really cool.
Oh.
But what about in today's world? With so many remote teams, how do we use vision boards when everyone's not in the same room?
That's where digital tools come in. They really break down those geographical barriers and let teams work together in real time.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. What are some of the advantages of using a digital tool over a physical board?
Well, for one, it's much more accessible.
Yeah.
People can contribute from anywhere at any time. And it also boosts collaboration. You could have multiple people editing, commenting, even voting on ideas at the same time. It sounds like these tools could streamline the whole innovation process. But with so many options out there, How do we choose the right one?
It's all about finding a tool that matches your team's needs and how you work. You
Hmm.
know, think about things like how easy it is to use if it integrates with your current tech stack and, of course, budget.
Finding that balance between features, user-friendliness, and cost. Can you give us some examples of some popular digital vision board tools out there?
Sure, there's Miro and Mural, which are really great collaborative whiteboards. They're known for being easy to use and having great features for visual thinking. And then you've got Canva, which is typically used for graphic design, but you can also create some amazing digital vision boards with it. And then if your team's already using Trello, their boards can work too.
Those are all great options. And of course, we have to mention IdeaScale's online whiteboard. It's specifically designed for innovation and collaborative vision board creation within companies, right?
Yes, exactly. And IdeaScale's platform integrates that whole innovation journey, so teams can collaborate, get feedback, and track their progress all in one place.
That sounds amazing. If our listeners want to learn more about IdeaScale's online whiteboard, what should they do?
Just go to ideascale.com and book a demo. They can try it out for free and see how it can transform their innovation process.
Perfect. We'll be sure to include a link in the show notes. So besides the specific tools, what are some general tips for getting the most out of vision boards, whether they're physical or digital?
The most important thing is to be really clear about your vision from the start. What are those specific goals you're trying to achieve? That clarity is going to guide the whole process.
So it's like setting that North Star before you even start building the board.
Yeah.
What else?
Don't forget to make it visual use, images, colors, textures that really communicate your goals, capture people's attention.
It's not just about words, it's about creating an experience. Anything else?
Make it personal. The vision board should reflect the team's hopes and values. Include things that inspire them on a personal level.
I like the any final tips.
And keep it visible. Whether it's a physical board up in a shared space or a digital board that everyone can access easily, that constant visibility really reinforces the vision.
Right, it's that visual anchor that keeps everyone aligned and motivated. This has been a fantastic conversation. We've covered so much about vision boards, how they improve design thinking, how to use digital tools, and how to create that culture of innovation.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to take a step back. We've talked about how vision boards can drive innovation within teams. But what about the whole organization? How do we create a culture where innovation is happening at every level? That's what we'll dive into in part 3 of this episode, so stick around. We've been talking about how vision boards can boost innovation within teams, but let's zoom out a bit. How do we create a culture where innovation is thriving across the whole organization?
Well, that's where leadership really comes into play. It's about leaders showing a real commitment to innovation and not just talking about it, but actually doing it.
So it's more than just saying innovation is important. It's about actually walking the walk.
Exactly. Leaders need to encourage experimentation, embrace calculated risks, and see both successes and failures as valuable learning experiences.
It's about giving people that safe space to try new things and push those boundaries without being afraid to fail.
Right. And remember, innovation isn't always about these huge disruptive changes. It can also be about those small but consistent improvements to your processes, products, and services.
It's like building a mindset of continuous improvement into the very DNA of the organization.
Exactly. And open communication is key for that. You need to have channels for people to share ideas, feedback, and lessons learned across all levels of the organization.
That makes everyone feel like they're part of the journey and that their voices are being heard.
Absolutely. And don't forget about resources, whether it's dedicated time, budget training, or access to the latest tools. Organizations need to put their money where their mouth is and invest in innovation.
It's about showing everyone that innovation isn't just a buzzword. It's a core value that we actually support.
And recognition is huge, When people contribute to innovation, whether it's a big idea, a process improvement, or just having that innovative mindset, it's important to celebrate and reward them.
It's about creating that positive feedback loop where people feel valued for their contributions, which in turn fuels even more creativity.
You got it. By combining strong leadership, a culture of open communication, the right resources, and a system of recognition, organizations can create an environment where innovation just flourishes naturally.
This has been such an insightful conversation. We've gone from the power of vision boards for individuals all the way to the bigger picture of building an innovation ecosystem within an organization.
It's been great talking about this with you.
And remember, innovation is a journey, a constant evolution. By using the tools, mindsets, and strategies we've discussed today, you can turn your work team into innovators, unlock their potential, and drive your organization toward a future of groundbreaking success. And speaking of turning your work team into innovators, don't forget to check out IdeaScale's online whiteboard at ideascale.com. It's a powerful platform specifically designed for creating vision boards and fostering collaborative innovation within organizations.
It's a great way to kickstart that innovation journey.
Book a demo for a free trial and see for yourself how IdeaScale can help your team achieve amazing things. New episodes of the Innovation Brief drop every